Hello everybody, welcome to Ahmed and Behnaz's Travels channel. In this video, we're gonna go to Takht Jamshid or Persepolis, located 11 kilometers northeast of Marv city and 70 kilometers northeast of Shiraz in Fars province, Iran. Persepolis is a symbol of grandeur in ancient Iran and one of the must-see places in Shiraz. Perhaps the Persepolis region and the remaining buildings in it can be considered as one of the most important documents of the history of civilization in the world. Therefore, eminent scientists and archaeologists from all over the world have traveled to Iran to visit Persepolis. If you enjoy this style of videos, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and click the bell icon to get notified when a new video is uploaded. Also, we have a challenge for you. Please leave us a comment below the video and tell us why this ancient place is called Takht Jamshid in Iran. Persepolis is a relic of the Achaemenid kings in Iran since 2500 years ago. Considering the greatness of the Achaemenid Empire in ancient Iran, which included a significant part of the eastern part of the world, one can realize the glory of the headquarters of these kings in Persepolis. What draws the world's attention to Persepolis is not only the history of this ancient city. Archaeologists have realized the advanced civilization in ancient Iran from the detailed study of the inscriptions and works obtained from this region. The social laws of the Achaemenid era have also surprised many historians. Persepolis is known in the world as a symbol of the Persian civilization of Iran. The site of Persepolis, which is one of the most famous places in Fars province and is located near Marv in Shiraz, shows the architectural splendor of the palace of the kings in the ancient Iranian era. At the height of their power, the Achaemenid kings built their stone palaces in the heart of the mountain and near the city of Shiraz to leave a clear picture of the extent of their rule for the future generations. The site of Persepolis consists of different parts. In general, the buildings and palaces of Persepolis were built in the middle flat area and the south, southwest, and east sides of this area. There's a staircase at the entrance of the complex which leads to a wider space. The entrance staircase consists of two parallel rows of stairs. The distance between the stairs is causeway, and the stairs continue in a zigzag pattern to the top and reach a vast area of the palaces at a height of 12 meters. The height of these stairs is short, and you can easily climb them. It seems that this short design of the stairs was carried on animals for the ease of movement in them. Of course, entering the interior of the palaces was not allowed, and it was considered disrespectful to the king. The blocks of the stairs are also large stones that are placed on top of each other without mortar. 4 or 5 steps have been carved from each large piece of stone, and today corrosion and wear can be seen in many parts of them. After the entrance staircase, at a distance of 22 meters from the end of the staircase, there is a small palace known as Gate of Nations. The reason for this name was the arrival of representatives of different nations from this route and the entrance to other palaces. The Gate of Nations is a palace with tall brick walls and 4 tall columns which has 3 entrances. The size of the main hall reaches more than 600 square meters. The roof of the palace is 18 meters, and the columns are above 16 meters high. The columns of the Gate of Nations are currently among the most complete columns remaining in Persepolis. The lower part of these columns is bell-shaped and has vertical grooves, and on top of the column, a round stone is placed on the grooved cylinder. On the round stone, there is a flower column which is full of patterns and flowers and leaves, and on it, the headstone is seen in the form of a cow's torso. The roof of the palace was supported by these columns. On both sides of the western gate, there are statues of two big bulls facing the west of the plain. So, upon entering the area, they will face you. The cows at the Gate of Nations evoke a running posture. On top of the statues, there are similar stone inscriptions in ancient Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian languages and in cuneiform. The summary of the text of the inscriptions in the Gate of Nations, which were made by the order of Xerxes, is as follows. In these inscriptions, Xerxes asked God or Ahura Mazda to preserve and protect him and everything built by him in the Persian land, which is the court of all nations. The eastern gate is the same as the western gate. Only instead of cow statues, there are sphinx with human heads and cow trunks and eagle wings. The view direction of these statues is towards the mountain in the east and the northern courtyard of the 100-pillar palace. The street between the gate and 100-pillar palace is called Sepahian Street. The Gate of Nations in Persepolis had the role of a waiting room. The unfinished gate is one of the most important buildings of Persepolis. A small palace at the end of Sepahian Street and north of the courtyard of the Satsutun or 100-pillar palace. This building includes a 4-columned room with 2 north-south doors and rooms in the east and west, and the builders of the building intended to make both doors in the form of winged cows, which they didn't have the opportunity to complete. The 100-pillar palace, Satsutun or Takht, was the second largest palace in Persepolis. This palace is known by this name because of the presence of 100 columns in its central hall. Of course, before finding this palace, 100 pillars were found in smaller sizes in the treasury building of Persepolis. But because of the greatness of this palace, they named this building as Satsutun or 100 pillars. In different parts of the palaces of Persepolis, a numerical connection can be seen between the relief motifs of the palace or area with columns, doorways, and stairs, which seems that the designers intend to convey a special meaning. For example, having the same number of columns and soldiers on the northern gates. These fighting forces are likened to the foundation and pillars of the government. The king's side in these motifs is towards the outside, which shows that the northern gates were used as an exit. During the Sassanid rule, Persepolis was known as 100 Pillars. This palace is located in the eastern part of the courtyard of Apadana Palace. The construction of the 100-pillar hall was started by the order of Xerxes, but it was finished during the period of Ardashir I. The time of construction and the names of the kings are engraved in the foundation stone of the throne hall. The text on this inscription is as follows. King Ardashir says, "This house was laid by my father Xerxes with the approval of Ahura Mazda. I, King Ardashir, built it and finished it." According to the available documents, archaeologists estimate the construction time of the throne hall between 450 and 470 BC. 10 rows of 10 columns with carvings supported the two ends of the main hall. The height of each of these columns has been 14 meters. Only 2 of the columns of the throne hall were left, which were taken to the city of Chicago in the 1930s. The main hall of the Satsutum Palace has an area of more than 4,600 square meters and is bigger than the main hall of the Apadana Palace, but its height is 2 meters less. Throughout this hall, there are traces of burns from the time of Alexander's attack. The main shape of the hall is rectangular, and the total number of entrances and exits is 8. Apadana Palace, which is also known as Levi Palace, was one of the most beautiful and magnificent buildings of Persepolis, which was built during the reign of Darius I and his successor, King Xerxes. The construction of this palace took nearly 30 years, and similarities have been found between this palace and Darius' palace in Susa. Apadana Palace was placed on 72 columns, each of which weighed 20 tons, and considering the size of the palace and the weight and distance of the columns, how the weight of the palace can be supported by these columns is questionable. Out of all the 72 columns of Apadana Palace, only 14 are left, and one of them has been restored. On the 4 sides of the Apadana Hall, 4 towers were built along with guard rooms. The northern gates were the entrances to the Apadana Palace and were covered with gold. A part of the inlayer on this doorway, which had 3 winged cows engraved on it, was found in the year 1941. There were similar northern gates in the south of the hall, which were the exits of the hall to the warehouses and the yard. The light inside hall was supplied from the windows of the eastern and western walls, and there were 5 large niches in the southern wall. In the 4 corners of the hall, by the order of Darius, they had buried chests, each of which contained 2 gold tablets. Cuneiform lines were engraved on these tablets in ancient Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian languages, and today a pair of them is kept in the National Museum of Tehran. Apadana Palace has 2 double-sided staircases, one on the north side and the other on the east side, and the length of each of its walls is 81 meters. On the stone walls, a line of soldiers state officials, and 23 gift-giving tribes from Great Iran have been carved. Among the most important works discovered in the Persepolis region, we can mention the stone inscriptions and reliefs carved in different parts of the palaces and buildings of this region. Due to the age of Persepolis, these findings are among the most important documents of early civilizations for history in the world, and scientists and researchers from all over the world have tried to decipher and read these inscriptions and works. Many parts of the lines carved on the inscriptions are read today, but these inscriptions are still being deciphered in different parts of the world. Another feature of the discovered statues and sculptures is the remaining traces of paints on them. Although today there is not much effect of colors on these works, the use of ornamental stones, various colors and decorations on these works are quite clear, and the reason for the remaining of many carved parts with full details is to protect the color from the layers below. The ornaments on the statues, as well as the decorations on the hair and faces, were done with gold and precious stones, of which only their empty places can be seen today. In the center of these stairs, there had been a figure of the king who holds a scepter in one hand as a symbol of kingship, and in the other hand, he offers a lotus flower as a sign of peace and friendship to the gift bearers. In Persepolis, there are more than 3,000 reliefs and statues, most of which are inspired by Mesopotamian and Assyrian art. But, unlike them, not a single one can be found that refers to the battle scene, rows of captives, destroying enemies, or displaying the power of kings. If you are planning to visit this amazing place, please leave us a comment below this video. We will be happy to guide you. To be continued.